Well, thank you. Those are all great comments. I couldn't agree with you more on all that. And it makes more sense to keep our own rather than try to recruit folks from elsewhere. We know folks already, their families are here, they love Michigan, train them here. Oakland U does a great job of that. And as you said, most of your graduates stay in Michigan as well. So to provide those opportunities to do that, which I think is absolutely critical, which is why you are and will continue to be a key part of all these discussions too, as to how we can be helpful and create those partnerships between companies to make sure people can transition, have a job in the company here so that they don't go. It's usually, I find it, even the U of M folks, I think they brought U of M people because people heard the name Michigan and they knew I was from Michigan, so they sought out University of Michigan folks. But everyone I met, I said, so are you coming back to Michigan? When are you coming back? And I will say, without exception, every single one said, I'd love to move back to Michigan someday. And these were younger folks, and they're going, especially when I have a family, I love it, I'm from, and then they would name their town and talk about Lake Michigan or whatever. So they have in their heart, that's part of in their DNA too, the folks who were Michigan students. Other than from out of state. So we have that advantage. So we have to be making sure that's all part of that. At the federal level, I agree too that we have to focus on K-12 as well. I'm the ranking member, in the Commerce Committee, I'm the ranking member of Space, Science, and Competitive Subcommittee. So we I oversee NASA, which I think is particularly cool, but also all of the science policy, the NSF, the Science Foundation, all of that is in my committee. And we just passed the American Innovation Act. I worked with a Republican colleague of mine, Cory Gardner from Colorado. We held a number of roundtables and a bipartisan. This shouldn't be a partisan issue. Bringing everybody together, and worked on the Innovation Act, primarily also looking at STEM education in our high schools, elementary schools. But we made a particular focus where we think probably the most untapped area in STEM are women and minority groups. I mean, there's huge talent that's there that is not being brought into the fold. So we've got a number of grant programs to help local districts develop those students to understand that these are great careers. I also applaud the group. I've been working with a manufacturing group here in the state that is opening up some of their manufacturers to high school students to come in to see manufacturing. As you know, it doesn't look like, it's not your dad's or granddad's or mom's factory. It's a lot different. It's a pretty exciting place. I was recently at Futuramic when they brought in a number of students from in their Detroit plant from the Detroit Public Schools. And as you know, Futuramic was a auto supplier. Now in the defense and in the space area for NASA, they're building components for the SLS rocket, which will take us back to take us back to the moon and then eventually to Mars. And students were seeing that, and they're like, wow, I could be part of something much bigger than me individually and about this kinds of thing. It's extremely exciting what's happening here. So those kind of efforts we have to do, we have to step up. And then the final thing I'll just mention too with the Science Committee, which will be particularly important for universities and to make sure you have the next big thing, is we have to step up as a country, we have to step up our investment in basic research, basic science. As a country, we have fallen down on that relative to where we were in the 60s and 70s. In fact, it's about half of what we used to spend on that. And as all of you know in this room, the next big thing, we have no idea what it is, but it comes out of basic physics, basic chemistry, basic biology, all that basic research that really only the federal government will fund that normally. Companies will do it to a certain extent, but not to the extent the federal government will do. And it's our research universities, and Oakland University, of course, is a beneficiary of a lot of federal grants for some incredible research. We have the ability, and we have a competitive advantage in Michigan, having a whole bunch of universities that do a great job in that area. So that's the other area where the federal government's got to step up. We had a 4% increase in basic science research, part of our Innovation Act. We're going to try to get even more because you have to have steady increasing amounts going forward, something I'm totally focused on. And I'm happy to say we got that out of committee. It passed unanimously out of committee. That bill will now go to the Senate floor. And I'm confident we'll hopefully be able to get this passed maybe by the end of the year.
And Senator Peters, I know you're aware of this, but we had more participants for Manufacturing Day for manufacturers and students than California. And to put that in perspective, California has twice as many manufacturers as we have. So Michigan was all in on Manufacturing Day to get those students to those manufacturing facilities.